welcome to Ecoholics. Today we are going to learn a very interesting concept of economic growth and development, which is known as critical minimum effort. The concept of critical minimum effort was given by an economist, which was Harvey Liebenstein. Harvey Liebenstein. Now, Harvey Liebenstein, in his theory of critical minimum effort, actually talked about the underdeveloped economies and how they face the concept of vicious circle of poverty. When we talk about vicious circle of poverty in any underdeveloped economy or any poor economy, what we actually assume is that there is low level of income in that economy. Now, because of a low level of income in that economy, obviously the preceding impacts like lower impact of consumption, lower impact of savings, lower impact of investments, lower impact of productivity, and again lower GDP or lower national income. That becomes the low income income cycle, and which is also known as vicious circle of poverty. So you can also take down the concept of vicious circle of poverty, which was actually propounded by an economist known as Ragnar Nurks. So Ragnar Nurks gave this concept of vicious circle of poverty. Now, we definitely understand that because of this vicious circle of poverty, the developed economies are going to be far rich than the underdeveloped and poor economies, because the poor economies are always going to be trapped in this vicious circle. So now Liebenstein tells about a theory which can identify how to break this vicious circle of poverty. So according to his critical minimum effort theory, he assumes that there has to be in the economy a certain critical minimum effort that is going to make sure the amount of magnitude required for that underdeveloped economy to break that vicious circle of poverty, right? So we are going to draw a diagram which is going to make us understand a bit about how Liebenstein talked about to break this vicious circle of poverty. Now, the major components that he has used in this diagram are the induced income growing agents and induced income depressing agents. So before the diagram, let us also discuss about the income inducing agents or income growing agents and income decreasing agents. So according to Harvey Liebenstein, there are two components that he talks about which are very importantly present in all economies. Okay, so these components are known as stimulants and shocks. Okay, stimulants and shocks. Now, stimulants are what? These stimulants are income generating or increasing forces and agents. Something like innovators or motivation to the people, attitudes, changes in the attitudes of the people are going to make sure that the income is going to generate. So all those forces in the economy which generate income are going to be known as income generating forces or stimulants, and the opposite of stimulants are shocks. These are also present in all economies. Okay, so these shocks are what? Income decreasing or depressing forces. Income depressing forces definitely are going to be backward or orthodox or traditional attitudes of people, resistance to change or develop in the whole economy, or even various calamities, problems, uncertainties, specifically all those problems and uncertainties which are very much available in all underdeveloped economies, or underdeveloped economies, those problems which they are not able to comply, or all those problems which they are not able to solve, all those things are going to be shocks for them. A war, a crisis, a financial crisis, production, supply, glut, all these things are going to be income depressing agents. Now, because they're already stuck in this vicious circle, so Lipinstein says that underdeveloped economies have this major phenomena where the stimulants are less than shocks, or the magnitude of these stimulants is less than the shocks, and which is why they always keep on struggling and within that vicious circle and are not able to break out of that circle. So we can just assume that these stimulants are less than shocks in all the underdeveloped poor economies. So now what we are going to do in this diagram is that we are going to showcase how a critical minimum effort according to Lipinstein is going to identify a certain magnitude for increasing the amount of income, investment, employment, output in the economy, so that the economy is going to go on the path of development and economic growth and not going to get stuck in that vicious circle of poverty. So let me draw this diagram for you all. Now in this diagram, we have on the y-axis, we have the induced income increasing as well as decreasing agents. Okay, I'm just writing the crux form of it. Okay, induced income increasing agents and induced income decreasing agents, both are going to be represented on the y-axis. This is y-axis. Okay, this is O. On the x-axis, we will have per capita income. Okay, so this is going to represent the per capita income, which is basically like the index of growth development that is going to take place in the economy. This is x-axis. Now there is also a component which has been taken by Lipinstein, which is a 45-degree line. A 45-degree line passing from the origin, which is dividing this whole plane of x-axis, y-axis into two equal halves, is stated to be that line on which all the combinations of induced income increasing agents and induced income decreasing agents are going to be equal. Okay, so this 45-degree line, this 45-degree line is going to represent equality between the induced income increasing agents and induced income decreasing agents. Okay, so we compare this line, we take this line as a standard, and then we are going to compare how the agents of growth and the agents of decrease in income are going to be present in the economy. Now we are going to take the shocks and stimulants. Okay, over here Harvey Lipinstein has taken this panel over here to identify the shocks and stimulants. So basically he says that the stimulants are going to be something like this. Okay, this is going to be the curve for stimulants, and let us take it as x1, x2. Okay, this is the stimulants, and then we are going to take the curve for shocks. So Lipinstein has given the curve of shocks to be as this. Okay, so let us say this is y1, this is y2. Okay, so here let me write it also that y1, y2 represents shocks, while x1, x2 represents stimulants. Okay. Now, looking at this plane, we are also going to identify a few points. Okay, first of all, we are going to identify these 2 points. These 2 points are in equilibrium, means stimulants are equal to shocks, or income depressing agents are equal to income generating agents. So we are going to mark these points. Okay. Okay, so we mark these points on the graph like this. So let us say this is point A. Okay, and over here we have another point. We are going to mark it also against the y-axis. Let us say this is point B. Now, according to Harvey Lipinstein, in an underdeveloped economy, there's always this low level equilibrium trap. Okay, what we call it as low level equilibrium trap. And why is this trap? Because of vicious circle of poverty. Okay, so this low level equilibrium trap, let's say this is point E1, equilibrium 1, and this is E2, equilibrium level 2. So economy always struggles and always comes to low level equilibrium trap. This is E1, which is represented by OA level of income. Okay, now let us say that if, for example, economy tries to grow, of all economies, all underdeveloped, developed, any economy is always going to try to grow. So how they're going to try to grow? They are going to try to grow through investments and by raising some income. So they try to grow, and they try to grow by a point known as OM. Okay, so this OM level of point over here represents the investment that has been done in the economy. Now, because it is an underdeveloped economy, obviously the investment, money, capital, everything will be low. So whatever they have invested in the economy so that they can build on infrastructure and everything. So now the growth represents OM, level of income. Because of this level of income, what is going to happen? It is going to correspond to these shocks and stimulants, and it is going to make the economy grow from point, let's say N, to point, let's say I'll use over here the letter P. Okay, so because we know this is a 45-degree line, which is saying that in income agents, both income agents are equal. So OM level of investment that happens in an underdeveloped economy induces the income growth in such a way that it is going to pour its income growth from N to P. However, this curve is very low from the high level equilibrium. So underdeveloped economy, because it is always in the vicious circle of poverty scenario, what happens actually, according to Liebenstein, is that this is going to induce a negative path which is going to travel something like this, and which is always going to bring the economy again to that low level equilibrium trap. Only when the economy has an investment equal to OB, only when the economy has an investment equal to OB, which represents high level equilibrium, or obviously more, only then according to Harvey Liebenstein, the economy is going to come out and break that vicious circle of poverty. And which is why the level of OB, level of income, represents the critical minimum effort required by that economy to break that vicious circle, to come out of that underdeveloped scenario, and to start progressing and to start growing. So this is what is the crux of the critical minimum effort theory given by Harvey Liebenstein in the purview of economic growth and development. If you like this video, do give a big thumbs up, and also do not forget to subscribe our channel Ecoholics. And for more information about courses that we run, do visit our website www.ecoholics.in, and also take a note on the description given below. Thank you so much and have a great day ahead.